皆さんこんにちは。ナビゲーターの溝渕俊介です。東急シアターオーブがお送りするオーブトーク。今回はニューヨークブロードウェイで最前線で活躍するトップスターお二方をお招きしました。まずはロジャース&ハマーンスタインのシンデレラ、そしてバンドスタンドでヒロインを務めましたローラ・オズネスさん、そしてオン・ザ・タウンのゲイビー役でトニー賞にノミネートされましたトニー・ヤズベックさんです。Laura and Tony, hello. Thank you for your time and joining us today.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hi, we're so happy to be here. Hi, Sean.
Great. Hi. So to start off, could you both briefly introduce yourself to the Japanese fans, starting with Laura?
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Osnes. I was at Theatre Orb a few years ago celebrating New Year's Eve, and I am so happy to be chatting with you all today.
Hi, Japan, Tokyo. I am so happy to just be talking to you again. I've been there 3 times, and I really can't wait to go back again. The last time I was there was for the New Year's concert. I did Chicago there once, and then we did our out-of-town tryout with Prince of Broadway in Japan as well a few years back. So happy to be chatting with you once again.
Great. And we are so happy to have you both here in the Top Orb Talk session. And about both of you, I understand that you both have been in shows together. And do you remember when you first met? And also, we know that both your families are very close. So are you good friends off stage too?
Yes, we definitely are, but we actually haven't done a Broadway show together yet, have we, Tony?
No, we were very close once, and maybe we will soon still. No one knows. But I feel like we officially met doing the concert of Crazy for You together, wasn't it? I feel like it was.
I think officially. I had seen you in On the Town. I saw you in Chorus Line. We've been fans of each other from afar.
Yes,
Before
I had been
getting together.
Right. I had been a very big admirer of you
Same.
for a long time. And then when I heard she was going to be playing opposite me in Crazy for You at Lincoln Center, I was really excited because I knew I'd always wanted to work with her. So Crazy for You at Lincoln Center, directed and choreographed by Susan Stroman, was our first time working together, and it was an absolute dream.
But it was actually just a concert. It was a one-night event. We had 2 weeks of rehearsal and a one-night concert, and it was a dream. Getting to dance with Tony is the absolute best.
It was so fun. It really was.
そんな仲のいいお二人にお互いがリスペクトし合ってるお二人に今日はいろいろとお話を伺いたいと思います。So unfortunately, Broadway has been closed from March 12th. When your new show, Tony, Flying Over Sunset, was in previews. Tony, were you aware of the fact beforehand that the theaters may be closing? Were there any rumors before it actually closed?
Yes, there were rumors, and I have some close friends who work in the backstage areas and box office and general managers who I had chatted with a couple days before the entire lockdown happened. I sort of knew this was about to happen. And I would tell a few cast members of mine, and they didn't believe me necessarily. It was too much for us to really take in. But it was the day of our first preview of Flying Over Sunset. And it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock that day. And we were told, and that was it. It was very abrupt to the point where, yes, we never had a first preview. We never had a real audience for Flying Over Sunset. So that was really, really heartbreaking for us. I'd done 3 workshops of this show last year, and then we went 6 weeks of rehearsals, 4 weeks, and then 2 weeks in the theater with absolutely no audience. So we've yet to share our special show.
So with theaters being closed, I'm assuming most theater actors have lost their ways to express themselves. But yes, we do have internet and we have YouTube, but is expressing yourself in live theater something special? What is theater for both of you? Laura?
There is nothing like being in the room where it happens. And that is what theater is. It's a living, breathing organism that is never the same twice. Even though we do the same show for a year, potentially 400 plus times, it's alive. And there's nothing like sitting in an audience and hearing the orchestra start and seeing the actors breathing and sweating and and living that before your very eyes. There's no screen or anything else preventing you from reaching out to touch it. That's why it's live theater. And I think that even when things are being taped and filmed, people will still rush back to the theater, hopefully once it's safe to return to the theater. Even if they saw a video of it, especially if they saw a video of it. I think, for so long, theater has been worried about putting video content out there in fear that fans would only watch the videos online and not buy tickets to come see the show. And I think that mentality may begin to shift, as that actually helps build a fan base and people who can see it around the world now. And if they don't have the means to make a trip to New York, now theater is becoming accessible.
やっぱりそのインターネットとの付き合い方がだいぶ変わってくるということでしょうね。あとはやっぱり映像でいろいろ今配信されてますが、生の舞台の醍醐味を超えることはなかなか難しいんじゃないかと思いますね。Same question for you, Tony?
Yes. Well, the first thing I can think about is when you're performing on the stage, there is an extreme sense of vulnerability and honesty and truth about everything you're doing. There's no real way I can edit how I'm perceived because there's no screen, there's nothing, there's no filter. It's right there. So you either believe me or you don't, but what I'm giving you is really is as truthful as I can be in the moment. Is my job. That's my job as an actor. And I think what's hard is even doing that through a screen. I can edit, I can manipulate. I'm doing it right now. I've got lights pointing at me and I'm in a room and you have no idea what this room looks like because all you see is a white wall. And so there's something beautiful about being in front of an audience that's live because we're in it together and we feel a beautiful sense of connection with each other, that there's like a message there that says you're not alone because I'm right there with you. And it's immediate. My favorite part of walking out on stage is feeling the audience. A lot of times people say, oh, aren't you, sometimes you tune out the audience and you're in the moment and in the scene. And for me, I love feeling the audience out there. I'm at home when I hear them out there and I can see that they're just dying for some truth on the stage, whether it be some beautiful tears of joy or sorrow, whatever it is. I love connecting with them. So that's been really hard. But I'm teaching a little bit here and there. I did a lot of I recorded a lot of congratulatory things for commencements for like high schools and colleges right away. I felt really kind of like honored to do those things because I was never doing that before.
やっぱりその生のこの役者の息吹、息遣い、あとは観客の息遣い、その生の存在を感じるっていうことが、双方にできるのが劇場ですよね。やっぱり一日も早く劇場が再開してほしいと、僕も思います。So let's talk about New Year Musical Concert. As you both are members of the Theatre Orb family, Laura, you were in the concert 2016, Tony 2019. I understand that 2016 was the first time coming to Japan for you, Laura. Do you remember anything from that time?
I loved my trip to Japan. It was cold while we were there, so that obviously affects your experience. But the community and the people, as well as the staff at the theater, were so welcoming. There was like a long line at the stage door, the giving gifts, like the people in Japan are so generous and so kind and so supportive. And they love Broadway, but to get to share so many iconic songs and tunes and have, have the Japanese people know them, recognize them, want to sing along, jump to their feet applauding in such support. And so it was really special.
So Tony, you were here in Theatre Orb with the New Year musical concert in 2019. What do you remember about the concert or Japan in general?
Well, first of all, I always feel like Japanese people have a sense of respect that is sort of like across the board. Everybody respects each other, and they give each other a certain amount of like love. So much so that it's hard for me not to give it straight back. But other than that, I mean, I loved working that show. One of my favorite memories was collaborating with the orchestra, with the music director and the director doing Singing in the Rain. And I remember singing and dancing, and we did a brand new arrangement of it where I tap danced and I was all over the stage, and it was so neat to be able to have a bunch of us artists together, no matter what language we were speaking, and it really worked. And that was really exciting for me. And the other thing about Shibuya this last trip was me discovering an incredible gluten-free ramen place just down the street that I ate at every single night. And I'll never forget the first time I found it. I ate the most amazing meal, walked out on the street, and felt like I had a spiritual experience. And I walked home, and this was, I think it was after one of the rehearsals that night. And I thought to myself, I never want to leave. I never want to leave. And I ate there every single night before I went home.
ありがとうございます。トニーさんが日本のお客様から愛を感じて、でそれをこう返さざるを得ないというふうに言っていましたが、日本のお客様、トニーの愛を感じてましたでしょうか。そしてラーメンやっぱり人気なんですね。グルテンフリーラーメン、こんなに熱く語ってもらえるとは、想像もしませんでした。日本が大好きということがとてもよく伝わりました。ここからは、お二人のキャリアについてそれぞれ深く掘り下げていくコーナーです。As we have mentioned, Laura, you played Cinderella in Rodgers and Hammerstein's Cinderella, which you were nominated for a Tony, and you were also in Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific. What is so appealing about Rodgers and Hammerstein's music?
Rodgers and Hammerstein were so ahead of their time. They weren't afraid to write about controversial topics. Their leading ladies were very complex and went on monumental journeys throughout the stories of their musicals. So it's been such an honor to get to play a few of them and try to do justice to these very iconic roles. But I think the music to me, it's always been music I love to sing. If you really listen to the lyrics, the use of like poetry and alliteration is so clever. It's just Rodgers and Hammerstein to me, I think they're my favorite collaborators, and I'm honored to have gotten to put my mark on, a few of their leading ladies.
So Cinderella was originally a TV show starring Julie Andrews in 1957, as we know, and we understand that every time it was being shown, either on TV or on stage, there are adaptations made to suit that age or time. What kind of adaptations, in your knowledge, were made to fit the modern day in 2013, if there were any?
Yes. So Cinderella was a made-for-TV musical, and it was made in the 50s with Julie Andrews, the 70s with Leslie Ann Warren, again in the 90s with Brandy, and then finally Cinderella made her Broadway debut. And I got to portray her, which was just so incredibly special. We actually got to make a lot of changes to our script. We had a brand new book written by the brilliant Douglas Carter Bean, who was very innovative, and he kind of recreated the story so that, first of all, we got to know the prince a little bit more. The prince was now a three-dimensional, flawed character. And Cinderella was known throughout the land for her charity, generosity, and kindness, all these qualities you kind of expect with this iconic character. What I loved about our Cinderella was that Cinderella got to kind of decide her own fate. At the end of Act 1, instead of leaving her shoe on the staircase, she actually runs back and grabs it. And the audience is left shocked at intermission, trying to figure out, where the story's going to go. It's not the Cinderella they thought they knew. And then there's a second event in Act 2 where Cinderella is running and she chooses to leave her slipper. She takes off her shoe and she's like, "Find me," which I thought was so neat that it's not just happenstance. She's a damsel in distress. It's like she's the one who actually thinks of it because she's clever and innovative. And in a way, she also helps rescue the prince. She's the one who encourages him to step into his rightful place as king and kind of helps instill the leadership qualities in him that he doesn't feel he has. And so in a way, they save each other instead of just the prince saving her from her situation, which was it was so special.
I see. もうだいぶ現代に合わせた、シンデレラになったということですね。靴を自分で取りに行くっていうその女性のこの強さっていうのがすごく描かれていますね。So speaking of Cinderella, Laura, you have been co-hosting the popular Broadway Princess Party concert series nationwide. Can you tell us a little bit about this series and how did this concert series start?
Yes, so I co-created the Broadway Princess Party with my friend and music director, Ben Rauhala. It started as just a one-night concert at 54 Below, a venue in New York. Me with all my girlfriends, all singing Disney princess songs. And we were shocked to see it be so popular, first of all. And we went on through the next few years to host 12 sold out shows at 54 Below and just started to think how we could bring this to all of our fans and audiences across the country and world. And so we partnered with my friend Susan Egan, who was the original Belle in Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. She kind of came on board. We started like an official LLC and a business and all of this and started brainstorming together how we could turn this into a touring production essentially. So this was between Broadway shows for me, where concerts were kind of becoming more of a main gig.
So the show seems to be a lot of fun with lots of princesses appearing. As a princess fan yourself, Laura, how would you define a modern day princess figure today in 2020? Do you think the princess figure has changed over the years?
I think it definitely has. I still feel like I go back and I watch even the early Disney movies when princesses became popular, and they still were strong women. You look even at like Jasmine, she was totally like, I am not a prize to be won, and even Ariel is like, she was 16, she was so young, and yet she dreamed of bigger things beyond her own experience. She wanted to be a part of another world, and she was brave. And Belle like trades her life for her father. These are women who really have integrity and are courageous. So I feel like princesses get a bad rap for being damsels in distress. And even the early princesses didn't really embody that. Maybe Snow White, maybe the early ones, the Snow White, the Sleeping Beauty, they both get put to sleep and need to be kissed by a prince to wake up. But I feel like the image of a princess has definitely grown beyond, being just needing to be rescued by a strong, handsome prince. Although I'm a little old school, I'm still, I don't mind a gentleman who will open a door for me and take care of a lady. I think my ideal vision of a modern day princess is kind of the best of both worlds, is a woman who is strong and courageous and can think for herself and has a big imagination and goes after her dreams, as well as is kind and compassionate and generous and forgiving and empathetic. I think for me, I think you can still be, feminine and also strong. I think that's my ideal definition of a modern day princess.
やっぱり白雪姫の時からだいぶプリンセス像っていうのが変わってきたんですけれども、ローラが言うように、現代はその昔々のプリンセス像、そして強いプリンセス像、そのハイブリッド型っていうのがもしかしたら、2020年現代のプリンセス像かもしれませんね。Thank you, Laura.